Welcome to the EPiC Key Assessment. This short guide will help you prepare a clear, organized, and complete submission so assessors can fully understand your teaching practice. The best way to prepare your EPiC submission is to organize your evidence into two main folders, Part A and Part B. Each part contains specific materials that work together to tell your instructional story. Because many files are stored within district systems, access can be limited for outside audiences. Before submitting, check that all links are set to anyone with the link can view, ensuring assessors can access your work without delays. For video evidence, use clear labels and include the exact time range you want scored. Choose segments that show students actively engaged in learning, rather than extended teacher presentation. Throughout EPiC, you will be asked to explain and justify your instructional decisions. This means describing what you did and explaining why you did it, using evidence from your students, standards, or data. Strong responses go beyond description to clearly connect instructional choices to student learning needs. In Part A, include evidence related to planning and instruction. This part helps assessors understand who your students are and how you designed instruction to meet their needs. Your Part A folder should include your knowledge of student summary, required video clips, lesson plans, instructional materials, planned assessments, and your Part A critical analysis. Across all Part A rubrics, be sure to explain and justify your instructional decisions using specific evidence from your classroom. Rubric A1 focuses on how your lesson planning aligns with academic standards and learning targets. When responding, explain and justify how your instructional choices support the standards and why they are appropriate for your students. Strong evidence clearly connects standards, learning targets, and planned activities. Rubric A2 requires specific examples of how you addressed diverse student needs. Avoid general statements. Instead, describe concrete strategies used for particular students or groups and explain why those strategies supported access to learning. In Rubric A3, engagement refers to intellectual involvement, not compliance or quiet behavior. A classroom where students are silent, listening, or copying notes does not necessarily demonstrate engagement. Strong evidence of engagement shows students actively thinking, discussing, questioning, problem solving, or applying learning. In Rubric A4, respectful classroom interactions are shown when students engage with one another in purposeful ways that support student learning. Strong evidence shows respectful student interactions while students explain their thinking, listen to and respond to peers, ask questions, build on others' ideas, or collaboratively solve problems. Examples include think, pair, share, turn and talk, small group inquiry, or structured peer discussion aligned with the learning goal. Rubric A5 focuses on complex thinking, such as analyzing, reasoning, justifying, making connections, or applying learning in new ways. Evidence should show students going beyond recall to explain their thinking, support answers with evidence, or solve non-routine problems. Rubric A6 emphasizes your ability to explain and justify instructional decisions. Strong responses clearly describe the decisions made and why they supported student learning, referencing evidence from the lesson, student responses, or outcomes. Part B focuses on student learning. This section allows assessors to see how you evaluated student performance and use data and feedback to inform next instructional steps. Your Part B folder should include the assessment you selected, the aligned standards, one rubric written in student-friendly language, work samples for target students A, B, and C, and your Part B critical analysis. For Rubric B1, select one assessment and one rubric. The rubric must align with academic standards and learning targets and be written in student-friendly language so students clearly understand expectations. In self-contained or specialized classrooms, assessments and rubrics may be adapted to meet students' needs while remaining standards aligned. Avoid vague or subjective language such as sometimes, mostly, or often, as well as behavior-based criteria like effort, neatness, or creativity. In Rubric B2, student data must be organized quantitatively. Use a clear table that lists each student and their score for every rubric criterion. A chart is not considered quantitative if students are listed alphabetically or in random order because that makes learning patterns difficult to see. To make your data meaningful in Rubric A2, sort students by performance level so assessors can quickly see who exceeded expectations, who met them, and who needs additional support. You may use numbers, points, percentages, or performance levels as long as the data shows clear variation across students. When analyzing results, explain and justify your instructional conclusions using the data patterns you identified. In Rubric B3, include the actual feedback you gave your target students. This feedback may appear directly on student work, be shown digitally, or quoted in your analysis. Strong feedback is specific, connected to the learning goals, and provides actionable next steps. It acknowledges what the student did well, supports improvement in a positive student-centered way, and reflects what you truly shared with the students. In Rubric B4, use your student data and feedback to plan next instructional steps. Strong responses explain how patterns in the data inform your decisions and justify specific actions you will take to support learning, such as reteaching, targeted support, or enrichment. The emphasis is on planning forward using evidence. Across all parts of the EPiC Key Assessment, choose strong, specific examples that show students thinking, participating, collaborating, and applying what they have learned. Be sure to explain and justify how your evidence demonstrates effective teaching and learning. Following these steps will help ensure your EPiC submission is organized, complete, and ready for scoring. We look forward to seeing the evidence you collect and the growth happening in your classroom. You've got this.